sustainable sport, we must rethink and react. Could you show us the presentation also on the table? This would be great. Perfect, thank you very much. I will start really with rethinking and reacting. Not just rethinking, we have rethought a lot, we have to react right now. Why? I will show you some status quo. Today, sport, with its diverse facets, is a central element of our society today, for the younger generation and also for the older generation, and also who are doing sport for business, maybe. But what happened? How many sports facilities does we have in Germany? We have around 140,000 sport facilities, mega sport halls, unroofed facilities, swimming pools, also walking paths and for bicycles, shooting ranges, ice rinks. You will find a lot of sport facilities. But if we have a look on the numbers, we have a very big renovation requirement. There was a number of the German Olympic Sports Federation in 2010. This means 42 billion or milliard euros in Germany. And this is a hard word. There are also some other numbers like that, but nobody could say there's no renovation requirements. We must do the renovation of our sport facilities, especially also what Johannes Kappler has said. This was his first experience. Yeah, and this is the status quo, the big backlog of needed renovation for the smaller halls. And this is the other thing, the white elephants. We've just spoken, we've just heard about this in the introduction words again. This was the aquatic center 6 months after the Olympic Games in Rio, totally destroyed. And that's not just one example, there are a lot of such white elephants. So I've brought some theses with me, around 10. We have to learn from the past. And I think everybody of you likes walking in the Alps, and there you are seeing this nice alpine chalets. And I think, or also I think you are thinking this is very sustainable. You have in red, do you have a pointer? Yes, you have here in red, you have a chamber where you can sleep. Around there are the cows and the animals. They make it warm, and you are protected in your chamber. But do you think it's sustainable? Do you think there's a good indoor air quality or a good visible comfort? No. Yeah, unfortunately, for our reasons today, it's not sustainable. Oh, sorry, I have to go back. And with sports, 200 years ago, nobody did sportswear. We're just living there, just doing their daily work, just to overlive. But sport came later, sport that we know today. Yeah, what happens with this alpine chalet today? It goes back to the nature. There's just a pile of stones. The wood is from the region, and there's just some stones left. This happens with this alpine chalet today. Our buildings today, if they have to be rebuilt, are not like that. We have to be go to a demolition state. Okay, and this is also the thing, climate change of society. Our building sector produces 60% of waste, 40% of energy, and around 50% of resources. And so, if we want also to bring some climate change to the sport facilities, we have to change our mind, and we have to change also a little bit our behavior. The next thing is also sport or sustainable at all, buildings at all, we have social responsibility. Actually, and most of you are also from communities or other ministries, we have so much illegal workers in our public building sites. And so my question is, should it really be always the cheapest offer? The next thing is that we also should think, if we're renovating sport facilities or if we're planning sport facilities, should it be really the cheapest offer? Because most times the building material is done by childs in the third world. So we're needing holistic approaches. In energy saving, we are top in Europe again. You see here, you have a red line. This is the building practice. We have a requirement from our governments, and we have research. And our buildings, actually, the energy we are producing or demanding goes via zero. Here we are good. But what happens when we look at the land consumptions for the built environment? Unfortunately, I don't have any square meters for sport facilities. For the building sector, for the living sector, we can say in 1916, 20 square meters were used by every person. Today, 2014, around 45 to 60 square meters per person. And this is very high, and the curve is still growing. You will see it here. You have here some curves, where yellow curve is the space heating, the energy you need per capita, per person, and since 1970 it's equal. The space heating per square meters, how do we calculate in kilowatt hours per square meters, goes down, but the amount of living space per capita goes up. So we are still need the same energy when in the 1970s, and when you still calculate also your journeys, your clothes, everything, the curve is going up. So we need really this holistic approach, and this we have maybe also for sport facilities. But what happens if you're doing sport and using the escalator to go into the gym? So my opinion is you must be better, more efficiency, more less, sufficiency and consistency. We might act different. And this would be my 3 wishes to you. We have some kind of that holistic approaches. If you look on the Sustainable Development Goals of the UN, there are 70 goals for sustainable development. And for the building sector, we have also some sustainability assessment methods. In Germany, we have DGNB, we have BNB, BNK of the federal ministries. In France, we have ASHE. In Great Britain, we have BREEAM. So we have such called criteria list to assess the sustainability of buildings. Also for sport facilities. In Germany, we have just done 1 certification for sport facilities. This is the sporting hall in Zorneding. Unfortunately, Mr. Yunus is not today, but we have developed together with the BISP some criteria and categories. You see here ecological quality, social and functional quality, economical quality, technique, process, site, and also the sport functional quality. With we have separated in a list of criteria, starting with ecological aspects, energy, life cycle analysis, water, materials, area consumption, economical quality, life cycle costs, economic efficiency, social and functional quality, comfort, health, user, barrier-free accessibility, the architecture and multi-functionality, the technical quality, fire protection, building shell, deconstruction and maintenance. We have a process from the master planning to the tender process, the construction site, the operation and the monitoring, and also the site quality with the microsite, the transport, the risk square, and last but not least, the sport functional quality. Especially integration into the existing urban structure, the district, the reuse, the sport functional aspects, temporary, and also the user. These are criteria with that we can assess sport facilities. We have to assess this, or we have to look also not only to the planning process, also we have to think to the whole life cycle. You see here, life cycle of a sport facility means planning, construction, operation, renovation, and maybe end of life with deconstruction. Not just for the materials and the energy, also for the life cycle costs. And my first question is, when I'm coming to communities, they ask me, oh, sustainable building, it costs so much. And I said, no, you're just talking about the planning costs. Look really here at the operation cost, about the whole life cycle. And you will see here, if you maybe here, the second example is with regenerative energies. You save per year around 40,000 euros. It costs a little bit more at the beginning, but you're saving a lot. So also think about the whole life cycle, and also we have to implement circular economy to the building sector, especially also for sports. We have a small research project, and maybe it would be a dream of me if we could do this also not just with single family houses, maybe also with sport facilities, because we said, okay, what happens if we have to rebuild a house? This is in a house here near Munich. This was rebuilt. You see here the photos. And this house was not just rebuilt. It was really constructed at another place. This is possible. What happens? You see here some photos, and on the left side you see here the construction again. We proved how much waste does we have and what happens with all that building materials that are being free after deconstruction. And you will see here a picture that is not very nice to read, because what we have learned that actually around 80–90% really goes to the thermal use and the landfilling. And this is a big problem, because with 80% we have to reduce. We could reduce normally to 10% or 2.5%, and our part now is to recycle and to reuse our building material. So if you are planning or renovating sport facilities, please think always, how could I use the material again? This is a very important point, and the point is also circular economy in the building sector, also for sports. Another point is we need healthy sport facilities. Everybody actually thinks we have a lot of legislation here in Europe, everything is healthy. I have to say to you, no, it isn't, unfortunately. And I also ask my clients, do you like jogging on the street? And everybody says, no, I like to go jogging in the forest. But indoor, which materials are built in? Are they healthy ones, environmental friendly ones? Nobody knows. And it's very important if you're doing sport. We breathe a lot. The pollutants are in our breathing, and also by sport can come to in our go through the skin. And this is very important to think about also if our kids and we are doing sport in our sport facilities. We have a lot of technical declarations, environmental product declaration, data sheets, but sometimes not for our sport equipment indoor. You doesn't find a lot of this. So also here, a lot of work has to do in the next years. My 8th thesis is we need new processes. Just start and try. Don't discuss and don't think, just act. We have that long criteria list for big venues like stadia, Olympic halls. It works very good if you speak about big venues around 40 million euros. But what is with our small sporting halls or our small swimming pools? Here we need 10 to 15 criteria to start. It is hard to say, okay, this is the criteria I choose for, but really just start with some small criteria and you will be more sustainable than you are right now. The other thing is, my 9th thesis, responsibility for sustainable sport facilities must be overtaken. The question always is, who has this responsibility? Is this, for example, maybe here the NOC of a country? Is it a sport association? Is it the sport clubs, the sportmen or the sportwomen, the publicity, or the media, the communities, or the ministries? I think everybody is responsibility for sustainable sport facilities and must overtake here the role of a sustainability actor. And my next wish really would be, we need new education and training courses for sustainable sport facilities. In some of the European countries or also overseas in the US, there are master courses, special education courses for sustainable sport facilities or for sustainable sport facilities. In Germany, we don't have any university who has a bachelor program or a master program for sustainable sport facilities, especially for the buildings. And this would be my next thesis, my last one. Yeah, I'm very happy that our book, Leitfaden nachhaltiger Sportständer, you will find on your table, was translated in English. You find some of the theses I told you today here, and also at the end, you find the example of Zorneding. Zorneding, that is this kind of pilot project here. It was a research project we did together with the community of Zorneding. And it is a sustainable aspect, and it was also, we did also a certification for that. But it's just one example out of thousands. We will see some other examples here in the next lessons as well, for swimming pools, as well for other small halls or venues, but please look at my words. You have to rethink and react, and I thank you very much.